Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now. Come on, Scooby Doo. I see you. Come on now. You're not fooling me, because I can see. Mm. Don't come back. Scooby Snack. All right, y'all. Welcome to this episode of Live from the Black House. The braids are gone, right? And I'm rocking the, I don't know if we call this, we call it mini fro, if we call it I forget. But you start to empathize. Is it empathize or sympathize? For all women who were once young black girls. My cousin Amisha, she's kind of like my sister cousin. So like I would see her getting her hair braided or her hair done or plaited and this and that. And it was Blue Magic and Luster's Pink Moisturizing Lotion. And there's a lot of stuff going on. And she was apparently what you call tender-headed. Raise your hand if you were tender-headed. Well, it took me 39 years to learn that I am tender-headed. So you get these braids, and it actually, number one, makes things a lot easier. So with the fade, you have to brush, you have to do all this. Let me tell y'all, with them braids, I would just get up and go. Get up and go. No satin pillowcase, no bonnet, do-rag. No, I'm just going. But it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. Last week I was traveling. I was just telling the folks here I was traveling for a whole week. And when you have braids, it's very easy to go from, oh, I'm good, to one day I'm brushing my teeth and I'm like, oh, we must do something with these braids. Oh my God, nobody gonna tell me nothing. Somebody should be like, hey, you got 2 more days. You need to set an appointment. Because then, now, your braids are hanging on, all that new grow, right? I mean, just luscious. There, look at this, right? All the new grow. And then, now you got to call the lady, and she don't have time. She's sending me the link to the app. I got to do the thing. I got to do the Black House. I can't be in here looking any kind of way, right? Very cool. As I said, I was traveling this whole last week. So turns out I didn't even know. I didn't even notice it. The lady who usually helps me with this, she no longer works with us. And so, yeah, it was going to be a very, very different show today. I started with Scooby Doo. Put in the comments. I would love to know what your favorite shows are. I remember, for me at least, it wasn't Scooby Doo. Scooby Doo had come back out. I'm a 90s baby. I was born in 86. Turned 40 this year. Yes, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it every episode because I paid for the podcast, right? But 80s baby, 86. And so Nickelodeon, I would say, was kind of. Are you young? You much younger.
Yeah.
You were a 90 what?
98.
98.
Oh
Oh my gosh.
That's so cute.
Oh my gosh. 98.
98.
Oh, look. Me and Karisha are kind of matching today. We're doing florals. Go ahead and have your seat over there, Karisha. I am so excited about our guest today. Okay. For those of you who do not know, my younger brother is a teacher. My younger brother is a teacher. My younger brother is Mr. Hicks at Alief Elsik High School. He's the band director. Hey, band! If you know, you know. And my cousin Jamel is a teacher. My cousin Joseph is a teacher. Let's see, I'm forgetting one of them. Kenya is a teacher. Okay. Aunties, uncles, do not get in my inbox if I forgot your child, my cousin. It's a lot, right? But my brother's a teacher, and so I have a soft spot for teachers. I also have a soft spot for teachers because in the 2011 legislative session, I worked for State Representative Dr. Alma Allen. If you know anything about public education in the state of Texas, you know about Alma A. Allen, AAA, not the one you call when your tire goes flat, the one you call when you want to know about public education in the state of Texas. Well, our very special guest tonight is that girl. That girl, yes. I get here today. Let's see. There was a time that, other than tonight, I would say it was Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia. Like, I got here and it was like her staff. I'm like, whoa, whose show is it? Right? Damn. You know? Very similar. A very similar situation. She has people. You know, when you do good work, you have people. When you think about public education nationally, we were just talking about this earlier. I think it is one of our modern civil rights issues of the day, right? And when you think about the attack on public education, you think about states. What do you think of when you think of Texas? And when you think about Texas, you got to think about Houston, the largest school district in the state of Texas. You know, when they try stuff out, we were pushing for the minimum wage in Washington State. I worked for SEIU up there, and they started with a small city. They started with SeaTac. SeaTac is Seattle, Tacoma. That's where the name comes from, and they chose it because you could pass referendums in cities. And since SeaTac was kind of what you call, was it a bedroom city? It's a city where like more people come there to work, but not that many people live there. So it would be easy to get the votes needed to pass the thing. Well, in the state of Texas, they went the other way. They started with the Kingdom of Harris. They started with the big one, Houston Independent School District. And they said, if we can get this one, then we won't be able to get any of them. And what's happened since then? Just recently in Beaumont, we saw she got a nice hefty raise, $400 and something thousand, a $10,000 move bonus. My goodness. Well, tonight, to my right, your left, she's a candidate for the Texas House of Representatives. She's an educator. I would argue, and I'm coining this, you can use it, put it on your t-shirts. She's the Rosa Parks of the public education fight. The one and only Michelle Williams. Welcome to the Black House.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Yes, you know, I started to play some Destiny's Child. But you're not that Michelle. You're the Michelle. I gotta know, how do you end up as a teacher? What made you want to be a teacher, and what was your pathway to becoming a teacher?
So my family, I have 4 brothers and 1 sister, and my brothers started out in education. My great grandmother was an educator.
Oh.
So my mother's a nurse. So we're all in like service-based industries. And I wanted to be a nurse practitioner.
Really?
I did.
Make a lot of money.
Yes. But this little person came into my life, my son, Justin.
Oh.
So I decided to switch majors.
Okay.
Because I knew that that was going to be a priority.
Oh,
So I ended up substituting and changing my major, and I'm glad I did. I look back at it; it was the right decision.
because that would allow you to be off when he's off.
Yes,
He got early dismissal. You got early dismissal.
yes.
Okay. And so when you think back to your first year as a teacher, if you could talk, if you could speak to her, and when I say that you're the Rosa Parks, I don't use that lightly. I think your fight and your quest is the quintessential example
Mhm.
um, for public education. If you could talk to her knowing all that you know now, what advice would you give her? Nothing changes, but you could whisper a little something. What would you say?
For me, looking back at me as a teacher, because I started out in Houston ISD as a first
Hmm,
year teacher
which school?
at Allen Elementary. It
Okay.
does not even exist anymore.
So
They
many of
tore it
them
down.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Over there by Kennedy Elementary. Um, I it just seems so Hattie Mae seems so far away. It was like this
Mm-hmm.
huge entity, and like, what do they do up there?
Mm-hmm.
And
Used to be on Richmond.
yes, it did. Called it the Taj Mahal, where they
Wow.
used to steal our paychecks. They used to, because they would send them out to the schools
Mm-hmm.
on paper checks, but they would hijack those checks all the time. But if I wouldn't do anything differently, but I would have told my younger self to pay more attention.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I'm telling people to do today. Just pay attention to what's going on around you, because
Mm-hmm.
you get so caught up in teaching being your identity. And I had to learn that, like in my 10th year of teaching, that we are so much more than just an educator.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those identities matter.
I remember my first grade teacher was Miss Daniels. And I remember running into Miss Daniels at HEB and thinking, you buy food?
Yeah.
Like you aren't like I thought don't like I assumed that like she lived at the school and the cafeteria fed them too for dinner and they graded our papers and did all this stuff and it was just like oh she has a whole life outside of school so it's very interesting that you say that and so you I mean how long were you in education?
26 years.
26 years. So that takes us back. Let's see, I'm 40, so that's what, 14 to me. So that's carried 2000.
Yes.
2000. That is the year like everybody, what was it? Everybody thought that everything was gonna Y2K, that was gonna be a thing.
1999, yes.
1999. And how interesting, because that's right before let's see. So Bush is president. I mean, he's governor. I'm sorry. He's governor. He's running for president.
Rod Page.
Rod Page is the superintendent at the time.
He became the superintendent.
He becomes. See, I didn't even. When you really frame it that way,
Yeah.
when you frame it that way in the movie, in the book, right? I didn't even think about that piece.
I met Rob Page. He came to our campus. I was working as a first year teacher in second grade, Forrester Elementary. I remember him coming, and he would come with those cowboy boots and that suit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how did things change over the years? Because if that's 2000 to 2001, because I remember I was in the ninth grade, 2001, when 9/11 happened. Everybody remembers what they were on 9/11.
I do too.
And I didn't know what the World Trade Center was. I mean, I'm in high school, right? I'm a ninth grader. I thought they were talking about, because we're on the school bus headed to school, and I hear them talking about the World Trade Center. Well, I thought they were talking about the Trading Fair, which is on 610, where my mom used to go and get those silk plants and those Louis Vuitton purses and the football jerseys. And then it's like, oh, and it was Miss Young, my ninth grade English teacher, she cried. And that's when I was like, oh, this is real. And people started. So was it that year or was it the next year?
It was the next year.
Okay.
I can remember that happening. The parents started coming
Yeah.
to get their children, and we were like, "What's going on?" And there was a TV where the janitor was, and all of the teachers went to go see what was going on.
Yeah. She rolled the TV in. Now, Miss Young, if you're still out there, you shouldn't have done that. Because I ain't gonna lie. When I was like, oh my God. We're under, because we didn't know what was going on. And then it's like they got the president talking, and it's like, whoa. And then our local news was like, we're Houston, we're the energy capital, blah, blah, blah. They're gonna, and it was like, oh my gosh, because Williams Tower, then Transco, and the medical center, the largest in the world, it's like, oh my gosh, they're gonna come here. So you end up doing that. You're a first year teacher at the beginning of this big change. Do you remember? Because I think we were the first, because I graduated in 2005. We were the first students to have to pass STAR to graduate. That was my year. And there was a lot of people at Westbury High School. They got to walk.
They did not.
Y'all know. But we were also, I remember in the 4th grade, it was TOS, and they had these like TOS pep rallies, and we would have to stay after school. No one had ever heard of that. It is, for TOS tutorials, and it was you got treats and this and that, and people did the best they could. Do you remember that coming around?
Yeah. So testing started early in my career, not in 2000. It started 2004. It had progressed from TOS
to STAR
to TAX.
Oh, to TAX.
Yes, then to STAR. I was TAX.
That is crazy. I forgot one of them.
Yeah. And it wasn't, the accountability system wasn't in place, and you took the test.
Yeah, but it wasn't like people didn't get to graduate. Right. And that was baffling to me because I used to be mischievous. I'm not mischievous anymore. But I went to the high school for law enforcement for 9th and 11th. And then I got a letter in the mail that was like, do not pass go, do not collect $200, go wherever you are zoned. And that was Westbury High School. And so coming from law enforcement, everybody passed. So it wasn't even a thing. There was one guy, Joshua Fungemi, who failed the science part of the test. We all knew, everybody passed, but him, right? Then I get to Westbury, and we're in an assembly, and they're like, basically half of the senior class needs to do this, this, and this in order to graduate. I'm like, that was my first idea of what disparity looked like.
Yeah.
And so we are joined by the Honorable Kathy Ballard Bluford Daniels, who says she has been consistent and outspoken. She capitalized outspoken, all caps, in the fight against HISD. Also helps me a lot when I was a trustee with HISD, helping me to adapt, learn, and understand the dialogue. Can you talk a little bit about the dialogue?
Well, education, we speak in terms that only
constraint. E2, are we talking on A2? Could be K1? And I used to be like, now I consider myself kind of up on the good foot.
You're right.
But I would watch these things once she got on the board and I'm paying more attention. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. What are they talking about? Or you would sign up to speak and I'm there and I'm like, do I get in line? Are they talking about they've moved on. Are we still, right? And so, yeah, she's joining us today. I do want to introduce the other folks who came with you. Without further ado, now this guy here to my left is, I think we met, had to be in 2000. I don't know. It was way before. I think Obama was president, something like that.
He was president.
Obama was president.
It was 2010-ish, 2011-ish. We had a situation of some folks being accused of casing the joint out in Cypress, Fairmont.
I remember that.
And we had to call in yours truly to clean up the mess.
Yes.
And we persevered and we made sure that we stood up for for
Yes.
our folks.
I remember that. We were fighting to either get him elected or re-elect the sheriff.
Re-elect.
Re-elect the sheriff. Oh my God, you aging me now. Because you forget about sections. It's the first tax. Now this. But no, and you are
16 years ago, just to be clear.
16 years ago, when my beard was naturally black. I don't even think I had a beard back then. Listen, I'll get a little bit put in there. But this is all me. All this right here, edge up everything, all me for now. But can you talk a little bit about how you're looped in with all of this?
Well, Omar Khwaja, long-term organizer.
I never did, so that's why I didn't. Because Omar, I know, I ain't gonna hey, right? But your last name, I usually need a little assistance.
Khwaja, it means foreigner or stranger.
Okay.
And I am an immigrant to this country, so it's apt. But yeah, no, I've been a labor organizer forever. That's how we met. Working for SEIU. Long-time career with labor, and sometime career as a small-time country attorney out in Jersey and New York for a period of time, and then a little in-house gig with the Teamsters for about 3 years, Local 988. Lots of brothers and sisters that I still keep in touch with and still in the fight with. Always the fight in labor.
Yes.
I have my own practice, and then I started having all these teachers come to me. They're like, "We're represented about great labor organizations, but we need you." Yes. I was like, "What I do? Why do I have to do this?"
Yes,
is what I said. The why do I have to do this moment? I had it early when I encountered the teachers with their binders of evidence and
they're so organized,
all of that, and I had to deal with it.
Teachers are so organized.
And eventually that led me to Michelle. I resisted as much as I could. Because you know when you have a difficult client. No, but I now we meet, we talk, we eat slices of pizza, and we work on cases, and I decided to take on, because of my experience in federal work, her case, her federal case. Her discrimination case. She's not the only one. They're literally going after the experienced teachers, which is having a disparate impact on older teachers.
Yeah.
And it is, I'm not, I don't know what the intent is.
Oh, I can take a guess. I can guess. Scooby Dooby Doo. Where are you?
Yeah. It's the people that put their helmet on. They know how to put their helmet on. Right. And they want them gone. They don't want the certifications anymore. They want to make that certification as useless as possible, so that folks can come in and
because those people are less trained.
Yes.
A lot of those people will come in and be like, "Oh, a check," and then when people are coming on to say, "Oh, a check," then you can make them do what, and they'll just do, because they don't know the experience. They didn't major in public education. They didn't go to school for education. They went to school for ... And in some cases, that didn't work out.
I did just start.
And then you see they're having a little hiring fair.
Yep.
And then you go to the hiring fair, and if you've ever gone to her, if you've ever needed programming and you've gone, and you're like, "Oh, so just my birth certificate and my hey, we'll send you to a campus," right? And then the assumption, and then it's so inartfully done, because I know teachers who have been non-renewed and invited to the thing. Clean up your lists, right? But continue.
No. That's exactly the case. I feel like the intent is we don't want the warriors.
Yeah.
We don't want the seasoned professionals.
People that behave.
We don't want people.
Yeah.
We want things.
Yes.
We want to buy the things.
Yeah.
We want to, buy the same things later.
Mm-hmm.
We want to choose the vendors that we love.
Yeah.
We want to try the AI and this and that. We want to make up the curriculum on the fly, therefore not having a curriculum like they supposed to. And this young lady, they pretty much, I thought I took her on. No, she took me on as a project to some degree.
Absolutely. A few months ago, I gave advice, and I'll give this advice on how to survive a well-paid but horrible job, right? So if you were within the sound of my voice and you work for insert organization, insert whatever, okay? A lot of times people just want you to show up, especially if it's remote, right? It's a good 6-figure remote job where you just log on this Zoom, right? And you be the first person. As soon as they be like the host is waiting, the host is there waiting to let you in, right? As soon as you get in, boop, good morning, Susan. How are you? How am I? No, how are you? How are you? Right? And they always have some kind of icebreaker, right? You participate early. And then you log off, right? You cam off, mic off. But you can't do that when you're a teacher.
No.
You cannot do that when you're a teacher. And we have a lot of people who are trying to do that there, and it's impacting so much more. We're also joined today by the one and only Face Beat. Okay? I have never seen this woman without just boop, boop, boop. Vogue. Michaela Booker, welcome to the Black House.
So excited to be here.
Yes, pull your mic a little closer. Your shirt says Mecca.
Yes.
Where is Mecca? Where is Mecca? Tell
The
us about it.
one and the only Howard University.
Absolutely. Howard University, the real HURC. I'll say that.
Thank you.
So you work in the politisphere. Tell folks what you do.
Yes. So I am a digital strategist and political consultant. That is how I make my money.
Mhm.
By heart, I own a platform called Black Girls Politicking. That's how I sleep at night with what's going on in the world. Really how I contribute, how I give back to the people that have shaped me, which has been Black women.
Absolutely. And we have this amazing Black woman right here. And I'm pointing. It may seem like when you really think about it, you are the David to Goliath. You're the David to Goliath. There have been a lot of times where I've been like, wow, what does it look like to actually stand and say, shoo, shoo, shoo. Right? And so you go back and forth between DC and here.
Yes. Just got back on, I don't even know what today is. I'm not going to lie to you.
Oh my goodness.
The 6th. So I got back on the 6th.
Mhm.
Yeah. Born and raised in Houston. But
What school did you go to?
So I did not get the opportunity to go to HISD.
Okay.
Actually, let me say this. I went for 1 year
Were you?
to Young Women's College Preparatory
Okay.
Academy. My mother would not allow us to go to HISD.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went to Dickinson ISD.
Mhm.
And every morning, my mother came home from work. She worked overnight.
Mhm.
And she drove my brother and I to Dickinson, Texas. Wow. And that's where we got our education. I did 1 year in HISD, and I graduated from Dickinson.
Wow.
It's a lot of mileage.
You know, you and I have something in common. But my mom was watching. So me and mama, we were black because I got expelled, and then now I go to Westbury, and I'm a senior. So, and she doesn't know. Well, I'm gonna tell it now. I kind of enrolled myself. So they were like, "Do you want to take a 4th year of math?" I was like, "Do I have to take a 4th year of math?" No, right? So I was in band. I had like 2 band classes, art. And so in band and in art, the 9th graders, I would see they're not passing their core academic classes. And I'm realizing why. Because Westbury is huge. And to get from this end of Chimney Rock to that end, in some cases for your classes, they would start doing these hall sweeps. And it was the dumbest thing because tardiness is a problem, but the answer is not to shut the door and then send the students to the auditorium to stand in line to get a pass. Now, I'm a senior. I'm in art, right? This baby who's in algebra has missed 20 minutes of algebra. And if you're behind, you're that much further behind. So I wrote well, first I went by because I come from law enforcement where we could have a meeting with the principal. If you had a suggestion, Dr. Morris, you could schedule 10 minutes for the principal. Yeah. So I go by, and that lady looked at me like I had 3 eyes. She was like, fast forward, I wrote a memo to the principal, right? He still ignored it. I went to the library and made copies, put one in every faculty member's box. Looking back at it, I think it was Mr. Schetzer, my government teacher, because it just happened to end up at Abe's Major's office.
Oh, I remember him.
Okay, so I'm in band. I played the trumpet, and the principal secretary comes in band practice, and is like, and he's like, points to me. So they called me over, and he's like, I don't know what you did, but the superintendent wants to meet with you and Dr. Lee. So, anyway, I thought it was a good joke. So we go to Dr. Lee's office, and he's like, hey, we're just, this meeting is going to happen, and I want to make sure we're on the same page. I was like, let's just have the meeting. Let's just have the meeting. So, troublemaker from the start. And so that there still exists. So you go on teaching. What would you say was the climax of your years as an educator? Like, when was it? I'm assuming it was good, and then there, when you start a new job and you go to HR and everything seems good, and they're like, we're a family, right? When did that? And then you start seeing like, oh no, we're not. When did that part happen?
It happened early on in my career.
Wow.
Yes. So I was a nurse's assistant. That's how I got through undergrad.
Okay.
So I had been dealing with
in this district?
No, before
before you
I
got
was in
there.
undergrad.
Okay.
So I have been dealing with adults.
Okay.
And
the system kind of
Yeah.
way.
And I learned early on when people say we're a family, that means
Mhm.
we're not.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll never forget Miss Harmon from Forrester Elementary. She taught me a lot. And I taught her a lot because I was 25.
Yes.
And I remember the veteran teachers, they don't go in there and say that.
Wow.
Don't say that. I was like, I'm going to go in there and tell her.
Wow. Wow. And so you're this educator who's going to call it like it is.
Yes, always.
If you could speak to the people of Houston, who, in my opinion, I feel like there's this veil, and it's like on this side, the house is on fire.
Absolutely.
But then everybody's just like, because then correct me if I'm wrong, and y'all feel free to jump in, it seems like they've taken the ability of the public to know what's actually going on in the schools away. There used to be a lot more like people coming for programs, people coming to the school for different stuff, and now it's like a prison.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, you end up in this huge fight. Why did you do it?
So I've always been an advocate for public education. It started when I got sick of the STAR test.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to Louisiana, was playing around with reform down there after Hurricane Katrina. Yes. So I started with Stand for Children. I had already been at the Bessie Board in Louisiana and speaking with them and doing media when I moved, because I always knew I was coming back to Houston because Louisiana is not my flavor. And so I came back and I became a building steward. And
can you tell folks, non-union folks, what is a building steward?
A building steward is the person that you go to for your union that is like the in-between between you and
management.
yeah.
So they come to you and they're like, hey, Michelle, uh, assistant principal such and such told me that I have to stay till 5 for blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then you would.
Yeah, most of the time I just handle it myself.
Mhm.
I would,
Wow.
yeah. So I can remember one particular time when the principal at Cashmere Gardens, he kept getting his behind on the goddamn PA system like we at church and taking up our time in the morning. So there was policy, and that was one thing. I pulled the policy and I sent it to our union rep, and she sent it to him. We shut him down.
Wow.
Cause like we trying to teach.
Yeah.
And you're up here like you giving a sermon every morning.
Yeah.
Don't nobody want to hear that.
Yeah.
So
Like it's Tom Jordan morning show. He
so,
didn't get to be a DJ, but he got this microphone, so he's about to
every day, every day. So I started out that way, and the reason why I did it is because I believe that if you don't stand up for something, like they say, you fall for anything. But this was just different because I knew what was on the line. My son is 32, and I have raised a child. I have an 8-year-old grandson, and the things that the teachers were telling me that was happening, and make no mistake, this wasn't happening to me. It was happening to teachers that I knew that took the bait with the money, because people were surprised that I didn't take the money. I said, I don't live my life like that. So like, you don't
think for the idiots.
Yeah, they took the money, but I told them I had seen this in Louisiana with those reforms.
So this adds another chapter to the origin story. Do y'all see the book being written now? Because see, now it makes sense. It's like Joker, one of my favorite movies. The first one, not the second one, but Gaga. I don't know what happened, right? Just like Devil Wears Prada. But I'm going to tell y'all, her campaign manager, okay? Listen. How do the young folks say? Giving. Giving came into the studio as if it were like a runway, but just casually, not doing too much. But no, in Joker, we see this, like everybody's heard of Joker. You've seen, Batman, right? And then you watch that interpretation of where it came from. You say, and so now it makes even more sense that you saw that first. So it's not like this new thing that you're just not like been there, got the T-shirt, and moved back to Texas.
Yep.
Yeah, and then here they are saying, "Hey, we've got this new thing," and you've been there, done that. Wow.
And people would not listen to me. And I told them, I said, I was there when they tore New Orleans public school system up. I said, I saw the carnage from them tearing it up. They had charter schools out there. They were still in the money. And the kids had no books. They had no desks. They were sitting on floors. That's the stuff that I saw in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina.
When I got to Westbury, my English 4 teacher told us on the first day, he said, "This is my last year."
Wow.
I'm not doing, and we did the bare minimum. I mean, at the time I was thrilled. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a breeze. We doing coloring books and crossword puzzles," right? But later I look back and I see he was a teacher who was just going to go along to get along at the expense. Here, why I can't read today, right? A lot of teachers will go ahead and do that thing, but then at the same time, you have a lot of administrators. We had an administrator when I wrote that letter. And now, at the time, I didn't think anything of it, but everybody had heard the name, right? So the administrator sees me in the hallway, sees my ID, and then she chuckles. And I was like, and she was like, "I thought you were one of the white kids." And I thought to myself, this Black woman, right? What must that mean? And the freedom to say such a thing. But so you end up seeing this thing, you've seen the movie before. Now you're in the midst of this. Was there ever a little bit of fear? Like when we think about these figures like Rosa Parks, right? When we think about these figures like Dr. Martin Luther King when it comes to Bloody Sunday, when we think about from the outside looking in, was there ever just a little bit of fear? Like,
Fear, yes, we all have fear. Um, and fear is what keeps us from doing stupid things.
mhm,
But my greatest fear was what happens if I don't? Think of this fight without me. How would Houston ISD and Mike Miles have played out? And I wasn't here.
mm,
So it's always, I have fear.
mhm,
I do. But
mhm.
my fear, I know if I act, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get terminated. Like, I got that. But the fear of not doing anything, I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm afraid of that
Mm,
more than a termination. If I
yeah,
wanted a job, I could go somewhere
yeah,
and get another
yeah.
job. But it's more than
And they're emboldened.
yeah.
They're emboldened to do the thing. Um, yeah, this last time when I saw it on the news, I was like, man, I know they're not going to.
Yes.
It's just like it's almost like it becomes. But any thoughts from you, Caitlin?
No, I mean, I think we've seen it before. The biggest issue, to your point, is that a lot of people just don't do the actions behind the work
Mm,
because of the fear. And I think it's a real fear, right? Like,
Mhm.
excuse me, it's a real fear. People have families to feed. And I think, we think about the larger scope. Black women often are the main incomes in their
mhm,
household.
mm,
And so it comes with real fear. We've seen it this year where people, Black women in particular, are losing jobs at rapid rate. And we have Black women on the other side of that who are desperately hanging on
mhm,
to what we have, right? And there are people making TikToks about it. Like, if you're in a bad situation, just stick it out. There's nowhere to go. And so I think it's a real fear for a lot of people. And I think the other part of that is like being blackballed.
mm.
People are, I work in politics, so I know firsthand.
Listen,
You get one time
yeah, yeah,
to upset the wrong person,
yeah.
and now you're searching for a job.
And they
And
call
it's
it
hard.
down there.
Because, I think to your point, yeah, you can move somewhere else. I
Mhm,
could go work in Idaho
mhm,
or Iowa,
mhm,
somewhere that's not as sexy or as
mhm,
fast as Texas or DC. But realistically, if you're trying to build a career, it is really difficult to speak up for yourself and for others because you're doing it also on behalf of other people. And I think that's
Really.
the difficult part.
When you think about this takeover, and myself and Larry McKenzie, who's in there, he says, "Hey, Michelle and Darrell, I was band parent for Westbury." Who was the band director? Was it Daryl Williams Lister? That was my band director for Westbury. Tara Taylor says, "Not why I can't read today." She says, "My daughter says that's the real reason why they don't want them on the phone." I'll say it was a dystopian reality when I took a tour of a high school because I realized, oh, like no one is paying attention to the teacher. The reverence that we had for adults, like I don't know what happened, but it's almost like here you are standing up essentially for not only teachers, and I think a lot of people see this as you stand up for teachers, you're also standing up for the students
Correct.
because, like, if this continues down this path, we have laws for a reason, we have rules for a reason, and if we're just gonna just choose which ones, then what does that mean, for the future?
Right. The laws are there for protection of the children.
Mhm.
And the first termination, Mike Miles was flexing his little muscle. He thought that he was going to scare me. But he didn't like something I said on social media. And we had a consultation meeting with the union. And a friend of mine, I chuckle about it now. She was like, he's telling you to get off of social media. I was like, well, I didn't hear that. So I went about my business, and he didn't, and he had I ignore people. I'm very diplomatic. And I had gotten sick of him and his smart comment. And Paige, so you called me one night. I was at work, working late. And they said, well, we want to comment. See, that's how it started. We want to comment to what Mike Miles said. And she was like, have you ever, he said, you all need to get off social media. The unions need to get off social media and come visit the NES school. I said, oh, me? She said, have you ever been invited? Absolutely not. But see, my wheels had already turned. So I did the interview, and then my little fingers got on that email. I sent him that email and posted it on social media. I know.
And when you think about it, when you think about who would be the protagonist, right, in this thing, I never would have. I was like, it's going to be Congressman such and such, state representative such and such. And I also find that confusing. Travis and I, and Larry McKenzie, a lot of the folks that were there from the beginning, I remember first hearing about 1842. And I was like, well, wait a minute. So here's like, is this where we're headed? And then some of the same people who voted for that are then at the press conference stopping the school closure. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Didn't you vote for the thing? And then I'll say this, and this is Terrell saying this. Michaela didn't say this. Omer didn't say this. Michelle didn't say. Carisha's here too. Carisha didn't say this. Elected officials in the greater Houston area, right? City council members, especially state representatives. Redeem yourself, right? And here's how you redeem yourself. You don't redeem yourself by saying, I'm sorry I voted for the thing, because apologies are very null and void. They're null. What you do is you get behind Rosa Parks in the public education fight. You call your donors. Y'all got little, you do the thing. You do it for real. You become a stakeholder, and you do not let this fight happen without you doing it. Your silence is blaring. Blaring. It's right? And then here you are sending text messages asking if I'll chip in $5. No. No. Because you're not even doing the thing. This is the greatest fight, I would argue. And you're on the sideline. You ain't even in the stadium. You're at home in the cheap seats, and you're supposed to be on the field. How can other folks who are watching this help? You're also running for a state representative in District 127.
So you can help me by, first of all, this is an investment. We're running a grassroots campaign. We're asking for $12.70, hence 127. And we're looking for volume. If we get 1,000 people, I teach math, to donate or invest in my campaign $12.70, we can have $12,000.
Absolutely.
And that's what I want people to understand. You're investing in me. You're going to invest in our future. And I'm not just going up there for the district. This is a fight for our public school system. And that investment will go a long way, because the same way I fought for Houston ISD is home. Mm-hmm. I'm taking Houston ISD as well as 127 to Austin.
And I would argue you're doing more. Now, my mom makes really good spaghetti. She makes really good spaghetti. And in fact, if you've been to an event at the Black House, you've had my mom's spaghetti. Here's part of the reason why I like it. Not only because it's nostalgic for me, but because my mom could do more with $20, right? than a lot of y'all can, but a lot more, right? And I would argue that dollar for dollar, pound for pound, you are more effective in this fight. Now, this is Terrell saying this is not, than the Democratic caucus in the House, than the Democratic caucus in the Senate, than the DCCC, right? Then elected officials. Where's the mayor? Do we have a mayor? Shouldn't the mayor kind of care, right? No, you are holding the line. I think you're kind of holding. Just imagine $12.70. Now, I've already donated. I'm going to donate $127. I'm going to do it tonight. Where can they go to don't what's your website?
MichelleForStateRep.com.
MichelleForStateRep.com. I think when we think about elected representation, when we think about state representatives, state senators, right? Everybody has to have an origin story. I believe there has to be something that pushed you to the thing, something that pushed you to the line, and you're already demonstrating what you'll do as Susie Q. Public. Here you are. Now listen, raise your hand if you've been fired before. I have been fired before. I have gotten the, are you free at 3 p.m. on Friday? You have a little time on Friday, right? And then you go in there and they sitting around and it's like, damn, again? And sometimes, one time like I knew I started packing my stuff up that week. That Tuesday, I'm taking stuff off the wall, right? Take my yogurt out of the refrigerator, like, let's go ahead and do this. But I'm gonna ride these last few days out because y'all gonna pay me for all my vacation time. Okay? We running it. Holiday, right? And then you get there and they're like, things are just not gonna. And then you went back and said, you know what it reminds me of? So this is ADHD, by the way. So no, I was a student. When Muhammad Ali fought, what's his name? Houstonian, come on. George Foreman. They said Ali is fast, flow like a bee, but Foreman has a hit. And if Foreman hits Ali, who's smaller, more fragile, that's it. When the fight came, Ali let Foreman hit him. And when he had him up against the ropes, he whispered in his ear, they told me you could hit Foreman. They told me you could hit George. And that is a mental thing. So when you go back and say, I'm standing on the law, come take it. Come on. Right? So thank you so much for what you are doing. If you are watching this, if you wondered, why did they let, during the civil rights movement, Bloody Sunday, why did they just sit back and da-da-da-da-da? If you watched any other event in history and wondered, what might you have done? What would your role have been? This is the moment. This is the moment. If you're sitting on the sideline, you're risking more than anyone else. I don't think there's anyone else in the state of Texas that's been terminated, had the lady to agree with you. The examiner was like, hey, right? And then you go back, you're doing more. And I think the least that we can do is stand behind it. Kathy says she donated. Rebecca Williams, I see.
I know her.
Rebecca, you better give me. I was going to read your post. I was going to read your comment, and you would have got us both in trouble, right? And thank you for what you're doing.
Yes, because we
Ah,
need more attorneys like him.
we need more attorneys who say, you know what? I spent all this time. I passed the bar. Let's start some trouble.
Because they don't want to get in this fight.
Oh, they don't want to. And I'm wondering, I'm not going to. So when I was living in Detroit, and I was on Woodward, and I'm parked on the side. Like, it's weird though with the bus stops. Like, the bus stop pulls into the parking spot, but if there's a car in front of it, they usually just stop on the street. Long story short, in slow motion, I'm watching this bus come down Woodward, and I'm like, is he? And he's pulling, like, is he about to hit me? He hits my parked car. And I'm a candidate at the time. And I was like, look, my registration is good. I ain't got no warrants, my license. I'm getting my seatbelt on. And it was so funny because when I retell the story, Sonic the Hedgehog with the rings, like this. I was in an E class. I'm like, we finna get an S. We finna get black on black, okay? And because they were clearly wrong. And then, of course, typical power structure. I call my attorney. I texted, hey, city bus, right? And so they send their people. They send their Detroit Metro investigator. He's like, I'm gonna need you to fill out a form. Yeah, I'm gonna need you. No, talk to my lawyer. And I could see the look in his eye. Oh, like, yeah, gotcha. Scooby Dooby Doo.
Let me introduce myself. Future Attorney General of the state of Texas.
That's how you know it's real. That's how you know it's real. People in here laughing that it's going to be so great. Terrace, the schools don't report what's going on, but the kids with the cameras are recording everything. See, that's the problem. Ooh, man, I gotta see where these shades. My eyes are actually sensitive to light. I have a thing from an ophthalmologist. So for all of those of you out there who are like, who does he think he is wearing the shades? It's actually a disability. Okay? So get canceled if you want. Yeah, I love a snort. Let me too.
I got a few more.
And then we have Carisha here. Carisha, you want to swing the microphone over and just give us your thoughts on this? She has been advocating. She's the co-chair of the Progressive Caucus, as the kids say. And she's talked about this. She has brought this up. She's brought up this broader issue on every episode.
Yeah, I mean, hey, one of the biggest issues is our school system and how we've lost the democracy of having elected boards that represent us and represent the people. And Mike Miles shows that he's a bully. He is not a leader. He is definitely the definition of nepotism in the job. I can't wait to get rid of him. He's such a. I'm not gonna say no.
Yeah, I would even say more than that. And now here's what's interesting, and I hope that everybody's watching this. It's bigger than Mike Miles.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Let's just say they come up with some like, oh, he's going on to greener pastures. Oh, he's cashing in on this charter school, whatever thing, or this Indian. I hear he's selling it. Something about future schools. It's just so much going on. Oh my gosh. So let's just say he cashes out somebody somewhere in Boston or something, blah, 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 right? And then they try to make it seem like, okay, now we're good. We're not, because it's a structural thing. And until you actually address it that way, that's what you're dealing with. To all the, and this is me speaking, right? I used to work at the prison. I used to be a CO. And one of the things they tell you when you're in training, do not speak to the media, do not this, do not that, right? Well, at the end of the day, if you are a teacher and you respect the work that you do, and you respect the profession that you have chosen, I want you to think about all of those who paved the way for you, and you more than anyone else would know history, right? Who paved the way for you to be where you are. And how unfortunate it would be for the baton to be dropped in your leg of the race. Because once it is dropped, it does not get picked back up. And it is you to blame. So I know it's very inconvenient. I know you have bills. The bills gonna be there, right? And I don't know if you ever played domino. You ever play dominoes?
Yes,
Let me tell you, I'm a shit talker on the dominoes. It is a rite of passage as a black man. Get this way. Get off my goddamn table. You do that, right? And one of the things that we learned about playing dominoes is that all money ain't good money.
I think they learned.
And so, sure, you need 96K or 04 or whatever, but they will take your life. They will take your self-respect. They will take your dignity. And when that's dropped, ain't nowhere else to go. Any closing words from you?
At the end of the day, I would like to see teachers come together. We are the cavalry. There's no cavalry coming to save us. And you can't run from it because it's everywhere. Fort Worth, Beaumont, Connolly, Lake Worth, those are the most recent victims of this hostile takeover of our democratically elected school boards in our schools. And it's going to take teachers, retired teachers, and parents to come together to save our schools.
Ooh, I love that. So artfully done. So artfully said. You've been training. Omer,
Yes, sir.
any closing words?
Well, I think the closing words will be, don't be afraid. Do not be afraid, because they're coming for us.
Mm,
So we can't retreat.
yes.
We cannot retreat.
Yes. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Michaela.
Yes. I'll just say, I think in all honesty, you are the reason why platforms like Black Girls Politics exist. Simply because a lot of these stories without Black independent journalists and Black media are just not told. And I think if they are told, they're told from the perspective of others. And I think it's very important that the people doing the work have the mics and are able to tell their stories the way they deserve to be told. So thank you, because you're doing the work. You're doing the hard work, and you're doing it on behalf of all of us. And as a product of Texas Public Schools, I thank you, because I wish I had known that Black women were fighting like this when I was still in school. So just
Absolutely. Carisha.
I just want to say this. Mike Miles will find another rat hole to find into once it's all over. Those board managers more than likely going to try to run for a position of office in our city. They should lose overwhelmingly. And I want that on record, because I want to hold each one of them accountable for being complicit in this takeover. And I will keep my eye and personally do whatever it takes to make sure they never get any elected office in this city.
You know, it is interesting that you say that. Oh, go ahead. So I used to work for Texas Organizing Project, and in Dallas, okay, I don't know if Bernadette Nuttall is still on the school board there, but we helped get Bernadette Nuttall elected to the school board. And there were talk about schools being closed and this and that, and we were trying to get a meeting. You know, when people get elected, before they're elected, they'll meet with you. But once they get elected, they get a little busy. So you get a voicemail, send me an email, right? So, and I'm so glad that I got to work with Top, because we had flyers made and we went to her neighborhood, and it said, your neighbor, school board member such, and we had a picture of her and everything, you know, is being part of these school closures and this other list of things. And still couldn't get it. And so Friendship West Baptist Church, where Freddie Haynes is now running for Congress, we were there flyering cars and handing out those very same flyers at the end of each service. Okay, the 8:45, the 10:45. I think it was the 10:45 or 11, somewhere around there. They're leaving, and this lady with a pearly white Cadillac takes one of my flyers, and she's stunned. And she says, "Now what? What is going on?" And she gets on her phone, and I'm thinking that she's calling the texting the thing, blah 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 blah. She calls Bernadette. It's her mother.
Oh my God.
And she's like, Netta, or whatever the nickname. I think it was Netta. They at the church. What is going on with blah 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 blah? And you could hear her on the other end. It was a Cadillac BTS, right? Pearly white, factory chrome, white wall, right? I remember that. And you could hear her through the thing. They're going back and forth, and sure enough, we got our meeting. And at that meeting, she said, "Y'all went too far." And Allison Brim said, "We went far enough because we got the meeting." And I don't think that vote went the way that we wanted it to, but her vote went the way that we wanted it to. And sometimes you don't go too far, you go just far enough. Michaela, thank you for the work that you do. As a young Black woman who is influencing, inspiring not only the next generation, because a lot of people try to put you in a category, you're inspiring all generations by communicating and doing what you've done. Please keep that authenticity. Do it the way that you do it. Black girl politicking,
Yes.
right? Omer. Oh my gosh, what a troublemaker. This one here is using all those late night hours, all that stale coffee, all those. Oh my God, I have friends who they get in law school, and people who get their PhD or they go to law school, they're never the same. They're never the same on the other end. And you're doing it for good. You still have the same spark that you had when you first started doing this thing. And that
I
is
hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
It's a real. I ain't gonna lie. I'm kind of
Anything to keep the blood boiling.
There you go. And lastly, to the Rosa Parks of the public education fight in the state of Texas. Go get them. Keep standing tall. You may not know it, but there's somebody who watches your lives, and she's almost there. He's almost there. And that next meeting where they tell them, yeah, now you got lunch duty every day. We want you to sit at your desk and eat your food at your desk while you check your papers. He's gonna say, no. Let me go talk to my building steward about that, right? You're inspiring not only the next generation, but the current generation. And hopefully you will inspire previous teachers, people who are retired, who go to choir rehearsal every Tuesday, you're in Bible study at Wheeler every Wednesday. Go raise some money for Michelle Williams from 127. Go down to the school board meeting. Recruit some other people and say what a lot of teachers may not be as comfortable to say because they're worried about their check, right? But sometimes it takes a Martin or a Malcolm or a Rosa or a Michelle to change that. As we say, every Wednesday, I was about to shut it down. He gave us 3 more. We gave us 4 more minutes. But I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. Take care of yourselves and each other. Good night.